Okay. Hello, my name is Urelis, and today I'm going to be doing a speech on the HR One for the People Act. Did you know that voting is known as a right for the American population? Today, my purpose is to persuade you to support passing the HR One for the People Act. Due to my concern about this topic, I have taken the time to conduct some research to help you gain a deeper understanding to what passing this act could do for us. As Americans, we should want to do better for our country and for the future by passing this act, which could help create equality among all Americans and help us strive for a better future. In that context, I will begin with the problem, then go in depth about some of the causes and conclude with a possible solution. With the roadmap in place, let's move on to the problem. The problem is some people oppose passing the HR One for the People Act. For example, according to a poll conducted on January 22nd of 2021 by Data for Progress conducted by Marcellum Holland, a political director, 30% of Americans oppose passing the HR One for the People Act. This presentation goes with the slide, or what I am going to be talking about next. So, according to Mulholland's poll data, depending on whether the groups were Republican, Democratic, and Independent, the percentages all differed. For the 56% of the Republican voters, 30% of them opposed, and then for the Democratic voters, 17% of them opposed. And finally, for the independent voters, 17% of them opposed as well. And then in this chart and graph, it talks about all of the different people that support and don't support, strongly support, somewhat support. Another example is the government and the states will control their own elections. According to Representative Rose, the HR One for the People Act would replace local and state rules with Washington's political elite rules, which would strip the states of their constitutional responsibility to decide their elections. Together, these two examples show that depending on which party you agree with, most of them will have high percentages of disapproving the act. With the problem in mind, let's move on to the causes. There are two primary reasons people oppose passing the HR One for the People Act. The first reason comes from believing it could weaken the voting and election system. According to Sarah Swan, a writer who talks about democracy reform issues, published on June 16th of 2021, the HR One for the People Act would loosen the strict rules of the voting system and could easily lead to many fraudulent votes. Additionally, this act is believed to grant anyone the right to vote with the potential of false votes. However, the government has ensured that this act can make the voting system stronger and even offer security. On January 25th of 2021, the Committee of House Administration published an article that explained that the HR One for the People Act will expand the access to the ballot box and will stop barriers from occurring in the registration system. Besides removing voting hour restrictions, this act will also make the voting registration process automatic. And many people will be able to vote by mail. This act would also ensure that all of the American elections will be decided by American voters and enhance the elections with federal support in the voting system, without allowing any foreign entities from interfering in the process. The second reason comes from believing that this act can federalize elections. According to an article published by the activist Adam Brandon on January 1st of 2019, this act would impose federal control over how states handle elections, giving the government more control, forcing the states to restrict voter identification laws. However, this act does not federalize elections. According to the Leadership Conference, the HR One for the People Act will allow every eligible voter to participate and will also try to address voting suppression by ensuring people of all races and ethnicities are included in the voting process, as well as leaving the voting only for the people to decide without interruption. Now that we have gone over the problems and causes, let's move on to my solution. The solution, which is to support passing the HR One for the People Act, offers two primary benefits. The first benefit is that it can make the voting system more secure. According to the House of Administration's article published on March 15th of 2019, passing the HR One for the People Act would ensure security by having elections decided only by Americans, without any interference whatsoever of any foreign organization, therefore making the voting system stronger. The second benefit is it can create a code of ethics for the Supreme Court. According to the House of Administration's article by Zoe Lofgren, a representative, the HR One for the People Act would help expand interest in regards to voting, as well as prevent Congress members from being allowed on boards during presidential candidates' tax returns. This act would also enclose the registration system and stop loopholes from being created by any foreign entities trying to hijack our voting system, which would help enforce the law and create a code of ethics for the Supreme Court system. This code of ethics means you must provide accountability between the public and between the administration. Ensuring this code results in the public receiving what they strive for. In conclusion, we must help pass the HR One for the People Act, and in order to change and achieve these improvements for our country, let's review what we have learned today. First, we learned that the problem is many people oppose passing the HR One for the People Act. We learned that 30% of Americans oppose passing the HR One for the People Act, and we also learned that the states could control their own elections. Next, we learned two reasons why some people are against the act and reasons why we should support it. The belief that the HR One for the People Act can weaken the voting system and that the act can federalize elections. However, we know the government ensures that this act can make the voting system stronger and offer security, and it can create an automatic voting system. We also talked about the belief that the HR One for the People Act can federalize elections. However, we learned that this act would not federalize elections. Finally, we learned my solution to pass the HR One for the People Act, which has two benefits. The first benefit, which is that this act can make the voting system stronger and that it can influence the economy and create a code of ethics for the Supreme Court. However, we know that American voters will have no interference during voting, and we also learned that in this code of ethics, the public should receive what they strive for. The truth is that the HR One for the People Act ensures that the government can make the voting system stronger and offer security. The numbers show what percentage of the population approves of this act, which is about 70 to 75%. Approving of this act would help us come together as one, which is why I encourage you to sign my petition and spread the word about the positive impact this act could have for our country. Thank you for listening. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, thank you.